G'day and welcome to another video. My name's Claire from Crochet with Claire, and in today's lesson we are going to make this awesome project. I have made the mug rug version because it's much easier to fit in the camera space, but you can use this project to make a scarf and also a beautiful blanket. It is double-sided. We've got this amazing side here, but we've also got the back. Look how good the back looks when all those colours are added in. We will be using this amazing border by Tina, and I will put a link in for that in the description box for you. We are teamed up with her because, let's face it, her border, if you have tried it already, is amazing. If you haven't, it's amazing. And it just encases all the loose ends. So you can change colours as much as you like, and no one sees the ends. They're hiding in this border. So it's a double-sided border. Absolutely brilliant. Love it, love it, love it. So let's get started on the lesson. For your supplies, we're going to need some scrap yarn. I'm just making a small sample for the video, so I won't need much, but you're going to need a lot more than this. So pick a main colour. This is going to be my main colour for my little one for the video tutorial. I chose grey for my original blanket, but you can choose any that you want. These are just random balls of yarn. We're also going to need a pair of scissors, yarn needle, and a crochet hook to go with your yarn. I will be choosing a 3.5mm and a 3mm. You're going to need a crochet hook one size down for your edging. You will be using the larger hook for your main part of your blanket or your project, whatever you choose to make with this tutorial. This is a 8 ply or a DK or a number 3 yarn. It normally recommends a 4mm or a G size crochet hook, but I have loose tension. That's why I am choosing to go down to a 3.5mm crochet hook. So basically get your yarn, whatever thickness that you want to make this project with, get the crochet hook that is recommended or the one that you like to use with that yarn. Also grab a crochet hook that is one size smaller than what you're going to use for your main project. So it doesn't matter what yarn you're going to use, you just need a crochet hook that goes with it and one size smaller. Starting with your larger crochet hook, mine is a 3.5, and your yarn, we are going to start the first row. You can do this 2 different ways. With my blankets, that are my big one with my grey yarn, I use the foundation single crochet. I find that that gives a very nice edging, so the chain is really nice. But if you don't want to use a not a front post, it's a foundation single crochet, get the program, Claire, a foundation single crochet, if you don't want to use that, you can use just chains and then single crochet back across the row. If you want to make yours with chains, you are going to make a multiple of 8 plus 5. If you're using a foundation single crochet, you are going to do a multiple of 8 plus 4. So you won't need that extra chain for your turning chain. So what multiples mean, if you don't know, I'll quickly tell you. A multiple of 8 plus 5 means make a chain in multiples of 8. Is it long enough for the project or wide enough for the project you're making? No. Then add another 8 chains and keep going in multiples of 8. So go 8 chains, add another 8 chains, add another 8 chains. You don't have to count like all the way up to 65 or anything like that. You can just count to 8 and then start again. That's what I do because it's easier to remember. And then when you get to the end, you're going to add 5 more chains. That's if you are making it with the chain and then going to single crochet back across. And if you're doing the foundation single crochet, you're going to do multiples of 8. So again, you'll do 8 foundation single crochets and then do another 8 of course, if it's wide enough, stop. If it's not, keep going. And when you get to your width, add 4 more foundation single crochets because this pattern needs that extra 4 to work. So I will choose the single crochet for the purpose of this pattern because it is easy to do. Foundation single crochets are not hard to do, but for this video I will stick with chains because that is what everyone should know. If you want a video for the foundation single crochet, there'll be one video pop up just here or a link in the description box below. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Is that wide enough for a project? No, it is not. So I'm going to keep going, adding multiples of 8. Is that wide enough for what I want? No, it is not. Let's go again. Is that wide enough? I'm just going to make a mug rug because I find them very handy, and that is great to just demonstrate the project. I think I'm going to go another 8 for this. And then for the single crochet, just with the chain, we're going to add 5 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you're doing a foundation single crochet, don't forget that you're only doing 4 extra foundation single crochets. Now, if you've chosen the foundation single crochet, you won't do this next row because you've already got your single crochets done already. But if you're doing the chain, what we need to do is go into the second chain from the hook, and we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. We don't count the one that's on our hook, and that's the first, and then that's the second, and we're going to go into there. You can work a chain however you like, back bump, both loops, one loop, whatever. And then we're going to work a single crochet all the way across. So pause the video and I'll see you when we're at the other end. So I'm crocheting along, doing my single crochet in each stitch, and I've realised that if I do 8 more stitches, I think this mug rug is going to be way too big because we're going to be adding a border as well. So I'm actually going to leave those last 8 stitches, and I'm going to undo my chains, which hopefully I didn't do my knot too tight. Yes, look at that. Yippee! So what you can do is you can just undo. I think I can use, actually no, you need a sewing, a yarn needle, that'll work much easier. You're just grabbing the loop there. Why is it not working? Come on. And we can just undo those chains. So I'll just quickly do this. Have you ever done that? Made too many chains and you think, oh, I don't need that many. So, oh, look at that. We can just pull that out. So we don't want to pull it out too far, otherwise we'll lose our last stitch. I'm just going to pop that in there. And that just acts as our new slip knot, and you can see that my last single crochet is coming out of that last chain. And I do have a long tail here. I'm just going to trim that off because I don't need all that. So the beauty about this project is we don't need to sew in our ends. Pretty sure I just heard you cheer, because who likes sewing in ends? Are you one of those people that likes sewing in ends? I am not. So we've single crocheted all the way to the end, and we are now ready for row 2. So if you've done the chain method like myself, or if you've done the foundation single crochet, we are both now going to move on to the next row. So this project is worked all on the one side. So what we're going to do is we are going to cut our yarn off. Now, if you don't want to do the border where it hides all the ends, and maybe you want to do tassels on the end, then make sure you're cutting your tassels all to the same length, but it won't matter too much for me because mine are going to get hidden. So to finish off the row, we're just going to grab our yarn and we're just going to pull it through like that. And just pull there so that knot tightens up, and that is the end of that row. So like I said, this is all worked on the same side, so don't turn your work. I know it's going to feel strange. and you're going to go back to your first single crochet. You can see, I hope you can see, just here, and then just there is your first single crochet. If you've done the chain method, it kind of hides a little bit. So we're just going to go in there, and we're going to grab our contrast colour, whatever you're going to choose. I'm literally just picking up a random colour. So we have our first stitch here, and we're going to work in the back loop. You've got front loop here, back loop there. Go into the back loop and grab your yarn, and we're just going to attach that. I've just put my yarn over my crochet hook, pull through. I drop my tail, and then I do a chain. And then I just pull down on that yarn tail, and that secures that in there. So for row, what are we on? Row 2. We've joined our contrast colour in, and we've done it into the back loops. This project does work into the back loops. We are going to single crochet into that first stitch. So where we've added our yarn in there, we're going to single crochet. So that's our first stitch. Get in there, and we're going to single crochet in every back loop across. So looking at your work, you can see these stitches at the top here, going to in the back loop. So not the front one, the back one. So normally you would crochet and you would go under 2 loops, but we're just going to use that back loop there, and we're going to work a single crochet, and we're going to work this all the way across. Pulled out heaps of yarn of this purple, and it's getting stuck. The joys of filming tutorials. And you probably won't know this unless you have been a viewer for a long time and keeping up to what's going on, but I haven't filmed a tutorial in a while, so I'm not anxious, I'm just nervous, and I keep fluffing my words. It's alright. I shall get back into the rhythm. So we're going to work in the back loops all the way across, and you can see, I hope you can see just here, the ridge that is forming, and that is your front loop that you've left vacant, and we are going to use that. That is why we've left it vacant. So single crochet all the way across to the end, and I'll meet you there. So pause video and I'll meet you at the end. I'm at the end of the row, so it's time to cut our yarn. And we're just going to finish off. Oops. And now we're going to grab our main colour. So for me it is this beautiful bluey green, and we are, what was that? My sewing needle. I shall have to find that later. This is our first stitch, and we're going to join our yarn into the back loop. So grab your main colour and join that in. And don't forget, it's got to be into the back loop. And we are going to work a single crochet into that stitch, and a single crochet into the next 3 stitches. So altogether we have 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we're going to do now is we've got our 4 single crochets. What words today are not working. 4 single crochets, and then we need to do 4 double crochets, but we're going to be working them into the main colour. So we're going to completely skip over this contrast, so for me the purple, completely skip over that, and then go into this row right down the bottom. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to find the available front loop. So you're going to see, if you can't work it out, so you're going to see how this single crochet just need to grab a yarn needle because the other one decided to fall on the ground. This single crochet is coming out of this purple stitch, and then that stitch there is the row below. So in this loop we are going to double crochet. If you can't work it out, count 4 stitches from the beginning. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This loop is the next one we're going to work into. This row is the setup row, so it is a little bit more concentration. Once we've done this row, trust me, the rest is easy. I mean, this is easy, but it does take a little bit of concentration. So we're going to go into this front loop here and work a double crochet. Once that one's done, we can see the next one's quite easily because we have done this loop, because you can see it's been pulled up there. So the next loop is here. If you're using thicker yarn than me, this would be much easier for you to see. It's just that I'm using a DK, an 8 ply or a number 3 yarn, so it is on the thinner side. So we've got 3 and we need 4 in total. So we're going to the next loop. You can see this loop has been pulled up by that double crochet stitch. So that loop between my thumbnails is the next one that we want to go for. And we're going to work a double crochet. Okay, and now we're going to work on the pink row. So we're going to be working into the contrast row. So for me it's pink. And what I do is I just lay my double crochet back like that, and then the next stitch that's available, that's where we work into. If you can't figure out which stitch it is, just go to the back, count 4 stitches that we have not worked. So let's grab my needle. It's really easy to point with. So this has been worked here because it's got a stitch coming out of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That one there, let's mark it, is our next stitch. So you can see that when we put our double crochet back, that's the next stitch that is available. So what we're going to do is do a single crochet into the next 4 stitches. So single crochet, so we have our single crochet, and now we're going to repeat the double crochet again. So again, going down, so this is our next stitch, but we're going to work, it's so much easier using that needle to show you. This is our next stitch, and we're going to go down, and that is the next available loop. If you cannot figure it out, once you've done this pattern row a few times, it's really easy to see. But if you cannot see this loop, not sure, you can go back and you can count 4 loops down the bottom because we've used our 4 stitches up there. So this one has been done. You can see there's a double crochet coming out of there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th one is where we want to work. So let's mark that. And if we look here, that is directly below the single crochet that is next. So let's get rid of that. And we're going to double crochet into that loop and into the next 3 loops. I sort of almost turn my work to the side so it's easier to grab that loop. It's just natural for me to do that. You can see our little pattern starting to work up, and we're going to repeat this all the way across. So our next lot, because we've just done 4 double crochets, is 4 single crochets. You'll see where I put my work to the back like that. Next available stitch is there. Again, if you're not sure, I mean, I've done almost a whole blanket using this pattern, so I'm used to it. But if you're not sure, then just do that little counting trick and it will help you out a lot. Like I said, once you've done the pattern a few rows, you will naturally see where you need to go. So now we need to do 4 double crochets. So again, going down 2 rows, so not the pink row, go down to this bluish, tealish row, into the front loop, and we're going to work 4 double crochets over the next 4 front loops. I don't know if I've already said this, but there is also a free written pattern for you located on my website, or you can purchase a ad-free one when I get it uploaded to Etsy. Okay, so we should have 4 stitches left, because what we want to do is, we started with single crochet, we want to end with single crochet because it makes it all nice and even. So we're going to go in the next back loop, oops, without grabbing that bit, back loop, and we're going, oh my goodness, got bits everywhere, single crochet in the next 4 back loops. So that last one is there, and there we go. Yay, it's starting to come along. Yes, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so we can trim off our end. These scissors are so nice. They sound like hairdressing scissors when they cut. I don't know, does anybody else love that sound of hair being cut? I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but I love the sound of sharp scissors cutting something. It's really odd, I know. It's okay. So now we're going to go to, what are we on now? Row 4. Let me know what colours you're using. What's your main colour, and is your contrast colour going to be the same all the way through, or are you using this for scraps? So again, we want to join our yarn into the back loop. Now as we go along, what we want to do is just tie these together, because I don't know if you noticed, but that was sort of loose, a bit like that. So you just pull that and then just tie these in a knot. Because we're not sewing them in, if you're going to sew your ends in, you won't need to do this. But if you are using the border like I'm going to do, because we're not sewing them in, they're not getting caught in our crochet, and they could come undone, or at worst case they will come undone, but least worst case they'll just get loose and look a bit odd. So just tie them off, and that'll just keep that all together. Okay, done that one a bit tight. See if I can just loosen that up a bit. Nope. Okay, but I only want the back loop, so it's all good. So back loop, shove that in there, and grab our contrast colour. You cannot see off my camera, but there is yarn everywhere. Okay, if you have a drink with you, it's time to hydrate. I have a cup of tea. And it's rooibos tea. And it's lovely. What's in your cup? Do you have a drink? If you do, time to hydrate. Okay, so let's attach that in there. We're going to single crochet in that first back loop. So this row is, so remember how I said it's a repeat of row 2 and 3. So row 2 was our contrast colour, so for me purple, and then 3 was the one we just did with the double crochets. So we've done 3, we want to repeat 2 again, which was single crochet in back loops all the way across. This row is my favourite row because it goes so quick. You don't need to think, you can watch TV, no counting. I mean, I can watch TV and do row 3, but I do have to count, and I have been known to do the double crochets and then go single crochet and just continue on with single crochet, and then I look down and go, wait a minute, that is completely wrong. Rip, rip, rip. So single crochet all the way across, and I'll meet you when we're at the other end. Pause the video and I'll meet you there. I have finished my row. No need to really show you because, well, let's face it, you've just done a row before and you finished off the same way. So we're just going to tie a knot in these ends. Don't need to do it too tight, otherwise it will affect the sides. So just a nice knot there that just keeps everything in place but doesn't pull at all, like I did that one just before, which it pulled too tight, but she'll be right. She'll be right. It's time for our main colour again. So we're going to put our crochet hook in that very first stitch in the back loop, and we're going to find the yarn end. I need to show you this. I need to show you what it looks like beside me. I have yarn ends everywhere and they keep getting stuck on each other. There's my cup of tea and my cool mug. I love my Grouch mug. Yeah, bits everywhere. Grabbing your main colour and join it into that back loop. And we're going to do a chain and pull down at the back to secure that in. And we're going to work a single crochet to... Actually, no we are not. Sorry. Giving you the wrong instructions. We're going to do a double crochet because we want our double crochets to be, is the word offset? I don't know if that's the right word, but offset to each other. So we don't want them stacked on top of each other. So the double crochets that are here, we want the next lot to be over here. So we're going to work a double crochet, and we are going to work those double crochets into the front loop of our main colour. So not the row that we just did, the one below. You can see front loops in my main colour just popping out there. So we're going to yarn over. We're going to go to our first stitch and grab that front loop. And then we're going to work a double crochet. And again, we've got 3 front loops remaining. We're going to do a double crochet in each of those. So this row should be easier for you to see what you need to do, because we've already set up our foundation rows of our pattern. So next is single crochet in the next 4 stitches, because if you look below, you see double, you know you've got to do single. And so we're going to do single crochet in the back loops in the next 4 stitches. And can you see now that this single crochet looks, it's more obvious that it's stacked on top than it was before. So, well, I think it is. Hopefully you do too. So we've just done our 4 single crochets. We know in the next 4 stitches we need to do 4 double crochets into the back loop of our work. So this is the repeat for the pattern. Duh, Claire, you're going into the wrong bit. Did you notice? Did anyone notice? Let me know. Say yes, I noticed. Because I'm going into the wrong row. We need to be working in the row below that last row. We're working into the main colour, not the contrast colour. There we go. That's better. Sorry about that. Did I mention this is my first video back for a while? There we go. And by working into the main colour, it covers up the contrast, which gives us that block effect. If we work just into the contrast colour there, there'll be a line and it won't give us that block effect because the main colour won't be like touching each other. It'll just look really funny and not work properly. Alrighty, in the next 4 stitches in the back loops, we want to work a single crochet. And we're just going to repeat this across. You probably already know what you're doing, and I've whizzed ahead. So into the vacant loops of the main colour. You can see they stand out much more now, because see how that's their double crochet, and you've just got those 4 loops in between the double crochets. It works out and stands out so much better once we've got that first double crochet and single crochet done. What's going on with my words today? So work this across and pause the video, and I'll see you at the end. So I'm at the end, and I need to finish off my yarn. I just noticed something, so I'll let you know mine looks exactly the same. This, when it ends in double crochet, it kind of looks like it's not joined together and looks a bit weird, but don't worry, it all works out when we add more rows to it. It's not going to be this weird flappy bit. So let's tie our knot. Remember, not too tight, otherwise it's going to, oops, it's the back of the word. It's going to like squash that down and look funny, and it will affect the sides of our blanket. Yay, it's working out. So continue on until you have your item that you're making. So I'm just doing a mug rug, so this will be, you know, sort of square. Keep going until you have the size that you would like. And we're going to finish on row 3, which is the ones with the double crochets and then the single crochet. So this row that we just did, we're going to finish on that. So once we get to the end, this will be the last row that you do. So continue on working your rows, and don't forget you can rewind this video if you just like need a refresher to continue on. But I think by now you should have picked up the pattern. If not, in a couple of rows time, don't worry, it'll sink in, it'll click. Pause video and I'll see you there. I have finished what I want to do for my project. You can see here that I have got it upside down. You can see here I've only done a couple of rows, but it's perfect to fit into the screen of my camera. So next up is our border. What we're going to do is we are going to use the amazing border from the Queen blanket. Now this is not my design, this is another crocheter's design, and I'm going to put her name across the screen because I do not want to say her name wrong. So I'm going to put her name across the screen. And if you don't know this crochet designer, then where have you been? You need to go and check her out. She has amazing, amazing patterns. I have finished all my rows, and you can see here it looks really lovely. Oh, I think that's upside down. There we go. It's really lovely. So now we want to trim off our ends, and you should have been tying your yarn together at the end. You can see here I've tied them together, so make sure you've done that. And I'm just going to trim off the ends. Because when you trim them off, they're much easier to crochet. They're all trimmed. Oh no, that one's still really long. A bit of a shape to get rid of all the stuff. And now we're going to do our slip stitch round. Tina does do this round on the video, but her blanket, so her main part, is different to ours. So I'm just going to show you that part, how we would apply it to this blanket. And this one we are going to be using our larger size crochet hook that we have. So for me it's a 3.5. We use that for the slip stitch, but then when we start the double crochets for the border, that's when we use our smaller crochet hook. So I am going to be using a pink. It is easier if you use a contrast colour. I've lost the end of this. If you use a contrast colour for your slip stitching, and then switch back to your main colour for your border. So I am going to start mine, let's put it the right way up, it'll be even better. I'm just going to start mine just off the corner here, and that way we can make it look easier to do. So we're just going to be working a slip stitch, and let's just secure our yarn in there. And working into each stitch, we are going to be working a slip stitch. Don't pull your slip stitches too tight because we want it just nice and what's between loose and tight? Not so tight, not so loose. And we're just working a slip stitch. So I'm up to my last stitch here. I'm going to be working a slip stitch. We're going to turn it to the side, and this is where it's different to Tina's, and I shall show you what we're going to do. So we're going to do 2 slip stitches in where it's got a double crochet. You can see there, that's the double crochet. We want 2 slip stitches across that. So the first one may not need it, but definitely the ones from then on. So we're just going to find a space. We're going to do a slip stitch, and then here you can see, I hope you can see, just here there's another space to put a slip stitch. We're going to pop one in there, and then into our contrast colour we're going to slip stitch in there. And then we're up to our double crochets again, so we need to put 2 in there, so we can go in here and then in there. Contrast colour again, so it's the pink there, do a slip stitch in there, and then we're up to our double crochet, so we want to do 2 across the double crochet. So you're basically just finding a space where you can put your crochet hook and make a slip stitch. Without pulling through the rest of the yarn. So contrast colour. And then 2 across the main colour. Contrast colour, and then 2 where the main colour is. And for me, I'm just up to the end of the row just there. I'm just pulling that open. If that will not straighten up, so this should straighten up, give it a little bit of a tug, that's straightened up there. If it doesn't and it's like that, it means your slip stitches are too tight and you'll have to work them again. But if you just don't keep much tension on your yarn and don't pull your crochet hook too much, you should be okay. So across here we're going to work slip stitches. This is the 3rd time I've done this slip stitch round because I kept getting it wrong. The first time I did it wrong, and then the second time I did it on the wrong side of the work. Oh dear. So we're just working into the chains, or it might be the bottom of your foundation single crochet. And we're just going to work this all the way across. Just realised my computer volume is not muted. Keeping it real. So pause the video and I'll meet you when you are at the end of the row. And I'm going to turn my work to the side. I'm sorry about all these ends, but once we get around this first round, then we will be right. I think I missed the last stitch, so we're going to go in there. And here we are going to go into the contrast colour. And then the main colour for 2 slip stitches. Contrast colour. I'm sorry if that's scratching away at the backdrop. I can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it. It's annoying me. So what have we done? We've done the contrast colour there. So we're going to go 2 across the main colour. Just realised my thumbnail was dirty. I snuck out into the garden and did some potting up some seedlings. And obviously did not scrub my hands before. I've washed my hands but not scrubbed them to get rid of the dirt. Anybody else like working in the garden? Just potting up some tomato seedlings because it's, what is it? It's just started November here in Australia. Normally they would be potted up way before now, but I've got a bit slack. So we're just going to do this all the way across until we reach the other end of this edge. So I'm almost there. I'll just leave the camera going. Okay, so now we are up to the last row that we crocheted. So this is literally just going into the top of each stitch, how you would normally crochet, and working a slip stitch. So under both loops, this one works up quite fast because you know exactly where you need to put your crochet hook. I'll meet you at the other end. Pause the video and I'll meet you there. I am up to where we started the slip stitching, and I'm not going to show you how to finish off here because I noticed that Tina has a really good way to make an invisible join. So I am going to go and hop on over to her video and finish that, but I'll show you what mine looks like. I love it. I actually love it with that contrast colour, working around the outside with the pink, and then I'll go to my main colour, which is my teal, and then go back to the edging for that colour. Thank you so much for joining me here for this tutorial. Let me know which edging option you have chosen, if you have chosen to do Tina's method, or if you've sewn in all those ends, or if you've made a fringe. I would love to know. Let me know in the comments below. Oh my goodness, I literally just finished this, and I just literally weaved my, didn't even weave my towel, sew it in. I just grabbed a crochet hook, put it through all those stitches and pulled it through. You can do the same with a yarn needle too. I love how this edging has worked up. And look at the back. Oh, I cannot wait to wear this. I'm not wear it. Use it. Love, 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 love. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial, and until next time, happy crochet.